Reasons not to buy a Weber Smokefire EX. I think this is the EX6. I've got the added on shelf, which folds down so you can get the cover over it. That was also an add-on, I don't know, 60 or 100 bucks. Didn't come with a cover. I had to purchase that separate. You buy the shelf. You think it's going to be a useful shelf, and you realize it's not very deep. All right, I can get a tape measure, but what was it, 7 inches or so? There's also not much clearance between the handle and the shelf. So let's say I was cooking something, that was relatively thicker, like a pork butt or a brisket. This is just your standard tray. It barely fits under here. So pork butt sticks up a few extra inches. It's greasy. Do you really want your hands touching your food? I know I don't. Getting in here, it looks like a big grill until you start to use it, like height-wise. It's not very tall. So again, pork butt up pretty tall. Kind of hard to get in there. You can slide this forward and back. It's not. But when you push this tray back, as far as it'll go, because it's hitting in the back, when I got tongs in there, I'm always hitting the top of it, and that means stuff's always flaking off the grill into your food. I have a lot of software complaints, but I'm going to proceed with the design complaints. It's got some drainage on the bottom, and it has this little shelf, this little drawer that catches not nearly much. So I almost never drain this because nothing hardly gets there. It's due for maybe only second drain in a year. All the ash just piles up on the bottom. Right? The holes that get to those drains, there's only 2 of them, 1 on each side. It barely works. So this is what they call the flame pot. I've had more problems with the flame pot than anything. Problems I have is if the grill isn't seeing the temperature, let's say the igniter's on, but it wants more temperature, it just keeps feeding more pellets. And quite often it overwhelms the fire pot, and then I've got a pile of pellets here that I have to clean up. Once I clean all the pellets out, the igniter is usually still hot and going, but I'll get a coffee can of pellets pulled out of here, and then the grill will start going. So it smothers the igniter, and everybody that I talk to at tech support wants me to, check, are your pellets wet? I got this, like all these little trivial checks that I know better, common sense shit. Right now I have the auger out because I've been getting a E5 and E6, right? Flame warning, flame goes out warning because it's overfilling the pellets. This is the new design that they made me remove to look at. You think they would have been able to tell with the revision or something, or just ask for a serial number to know what it was built with, but I had to pull it out, look, and prove to them that the auger is fine. So this auger push pellets up. I'm telling them that I have too many pellets, and they want me to check the auger. So kind of counterintuitive from what the failure mode is. They just keep asking me to check random shit, so it feels like I'm on a wild goose chase. I have since received a replacement little flame shield thing, but whatever material they opted to make this out of is pretty well rusted out and quite nasty. So this one lasted just over a year. I haven't switched to the new one yet. I figure the next one will last about the same if the grill makes it that long. But for a $1,200 grill, you'd think the material selection would be a little bit more effective and last longer. had this grill let me down so many times. Right? I'll have pork butts on it, or I'll have grilling some bacon, and it's just so disappointing when it fails you. If I'll do one of the common points that fail is I'll fire it up to clean it out, burn it out, and then when I go to reduce the temp to smoke, it doesn't catch it. The temperature drops just fine, but it overwhelms the flame pot, when it tries to catch the low temperature. So that's happened numerous times. Very, very frustrating. Using the dashboard's pretty decent. One complaint that I have there is once you initiate a shutdown sequence, you can't disable the shutdown sequence. You have to let it go through the full 20-minute shutdown process. So that's very, very frustrating. Let's say you accidentally hit it, somebody messes with it and doesn't know what they're doing. But what's happened to me is I pulled something off prematurely, thought I was done, hit shutdown, went and checked it, found out it was a little undercooked, wanted to throw it back on. With any other grill, it's still going. You fire it back up in an instant, not a problem. Not so much this one. You're SOL if you shut it down and you're not done cooking, because it's a 20-minute shutdown process and another 20 minutes to get fired back up. So I'm in the backside right now. Got the auger out. We got this little valve if you ever wanted to dump your pellets. However, it's not at the bottom, right? The pellets still are full here, so it still makes a mess. You can only drain here on up. Makes a mess over everywhere because you're always spilling pellets. So let's say you're grilling and you're smoking. Right, this is 250 degrees up. What's this? 5 inches? Not very deep here. So you're going around a hot item. You're trying to target this skinny little spot to fill your pellets up. It's always getting filled up in here. Between where the pellets are, you're spilling pellets over on this side. You're getting pellets in this joint right here. So it needs a little shelf. It needs a little kick out here to deflect pellets in for when you do spill it over. Happens all the time. Super frustrating. Look at my deck. I mean, this is all pellets that I've spilled that have just dissolved on the deck. Yeah, I wouldn't recommend this to an enemy. Spent $1,200, just nothing but frustration, disappointment. It's the highest maintenance grill I've ever dealt with.